What is going on, guys? We are back with another video today, and we're going to be talking about Madden 23 Franchise, which officially came out on the beta today, I believe, and I decided to play it, decided to see what we could find that is potentially new, that is potentially not new, and see if there was anything, out of that people were really looking for. Now, I can't remember every single feature every single person wanted, but I can tell you what wasn't there, which I would assume means a lot of things people wanted aren't there. So, there's no scouting combine to actually go in and watch. But let's be honest, the stuff that would surprise us to be in the game would have been one of the features mentioned. If there was a scouting combine that you could actually go in and watch or somehow participate and practice with people, that would have been shown before the game came out or the beta came out, all that. You would see trailers of that, obviously. If there was a special draft sequence where you'd actually see people drafted, even the first rounders, that would have also been shown, obviously, because that's something they would have put work into, and that's something they would have been proud of. None of that's in the game, not really surprising at all. The drafting, the scouting itself, this is going to be really poorly structured, by the way. I'm just going to kind of list things off that I, kind of wrote down as I went on. But, the scouting, nothing really changed. The only thing that kind of changed was the potentials. Instead of it just being an A or a C or a B or whatever, there's B to A now, C to B, 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 C. But there's kind of random grading, B to C or C to B, whatever. But I'm trying to think of, is that actually different? Or is that just a different way of looking at it? Because obviously, when you looked at Madden in the previous years, an A really didn't mean an A, right? An A for me would be I think it's 90 plus or something like that, if you're talking about grading. And usually an A meant maybe 81, 82, 83. So maybe that's the exact same thing, but it's just being labeled differently. So now it's oh, well, you said A, it's only an 80, but now it's it's an A to B, so it's oh, actually it's not. It makes sense that it was an 80 overall or whatever. Or maybe it is just going to be a little bit tougher to draft that way, which, once again, the scouting update wasn't perfect, but at the same time, even now with scouting, it's too easy to know how good of a player you're getting, whereas in real life, you don't know what you're getting, even if the player looked crazy good in college. Some positions is a little bit easier, but, in Madden, it's almost guaranteed that you kind of know how good the player is that you're drafting, right, outside of hidden development trade and whatnot. Also, before you actually click in on the player, they have the 4 most kind of important, ratings for that player. So if it's a quarterback, I think they show, I think it was throw under pressure, medium accuracy, short accuracy. You kind of get the gist. They would show that on the front thing. So I guess if they're really bad potentials, you can kind of ignore them without having to click in and be oh, was this guy good? I can't remember. It might have just been because it's a beta and there's not a billion players on or something, but it seemed like it was a little easier to click right bumper to go to the college, the combine and pro days, but that might have just, once again, it could get clunky as hell when it's, when the game actually releases. That was one of my big pet peeves, is that it was hard to kind of it took you a long time to scout everyone if you wanted to look at their front page, their right bumper, which is their combine and their pro day, and then you wanted to look again, right bumper again, to see all their potentials. It seemed a little bit faster, but overall it's still kind of clunky. What else do we have? I, once again, am going to say that it's quote-unquote a work in progress, but from what I've experienced, the beta is kind of what you get. Specifically for Franchise, there was no relocation teams again. There was no new relocation teams. They were the exact same as before. Once again, I just assume that's going to be the case. I thought last Madden, they promised we were going to have new relocation teams. I know there's people that play on PC or whatever. They can literally make, sports teams from TV shows if they want. But, not everyone plays on a PC. Not everyone plays modded, Madden or whatever. Sometimes you just want to deal with the relocation teams in the game. And there still are no new ones. It's crazy. Maybe there's a new location. Was Oakland? I think Oakland was already a relocation team, wasn't it? It's just obviously you wouldn't be able to change your logo or team anyways. But we also have the contracts being what appears to be the exact same. I tested some of them. I made a 22-year-old superstar 89 overall running back with max speed, and his contract was a 5-year 40. It's that's kind of not what they're valued at. Outside linebackers, I made an 82 overall coverage guy that was an outside linebacker. He was wanting a 5-year 95. Ridiculous money once again. it's kind of becoming a little bit less of a blur in real life as, guys like Darius Leonard were paid like a 5-year 100, but once again, he is like a really high overall in the game, so that kind of makes sense, whereas anyone in the 80s for outside linebacker, half the time they seem like they're going to be going for 20 mil per year. In the free agency, once again, it might just because he was a free agent. I didn't really tinker too much with actual like free agency biddings, even though there are new things. I will mention that, but it seemed like Tyreek Hill wanted 40 mil per year. I made him a 1-year deal. He wanted 40 mil per year. It could be based, though, on the previous season, as I made him a 1-year contract, obviously, which shifted all of that money he has in real life to a 1 year. So maybe the game was like, he made $100 million last year. Okay, well, he's going to be wanting a lot this year. But one of the big things, which we do know about, they mentioned it, I believe, is that there's different kind of attractions to that player. There's different values. So one of the values was Tyreek Hill wanted a franchise quarterback. If you didn't have a franchise quarterback, he was less likely to sign with you. There was multiple ones for where they live. There was one where it was like warm weather. There was one that was close to Georgia. There was ones that are like players on franchise tag because like they don't want to be franchise tagged, I think. Or that means that the players that were on the team could no longer be there, and obviously they're signing a long-term deal. So that is kind of a cool factor. The free agency screen in general has completely changed. It looks, I wouldn't say bulky, but it's kind of just out there. There's so many things to look at. Once again, probably get more used to it as, all of us play the game more. I feel like that's happened a lot of times where they change something, no one likes it, and then you kind of get used to it. Which, speaking of, the actual main screen for franchise is no longer this, like, dark, sad, depressing place. Like, I played as a couple of different teams, and I'm pretty sure that they changed the color based on the team you are and the background. It just looks better. I mean, it's nothing crazy. It just looks better. Before, it honestly looked like we were playing an actual beta. Like last game was just like all dark, super darkness, like depressing mode. But what else do they have? The contracts, re-signings in general, the screen's also different for that. So you can't you can't really look ahead. So you have to do more scrolling. Once again, it's kind of a small thing, but just something to throw out there, of course. Is more of the kind of like free agency biddings thing. One of them, I think, was also like Super Bowl chance. Like if you were a favorite to make it to the Super Bowl or whatever, that was one of them as well. But speaking of the Super Bowl, the same celebration. I didn't expect it to change as they literally just changed it. I mean, we'll be lucky to get it changed every 4 years at this rate. I don't really care too much because, to be honest, it is kind of different enough to not have to worry about it. But it's still glitched, though, because when you come out the gate with the Super Bowl, the winner, the quarterback, kind of like runs out onto the field, like kind of like prancing a little bit. But then it cuts the next frame to the quarterback on the sideline with his hands on his head that he can't believe he's won it, which is just so hilarious. But, just throwing that out there as well. Of course, as far as the draft goes, besides, the potential ranging change and the 4 potentials shown on the main screen of that player without having to click in, it seems as if the quarterback's glitch is still here. Some of the marks that I made was that the Ravens took a quarterback at 28. Sure, you can make the argument that, the Ravens might not keep Lamar in real life. There's kind of like debates, is he a franchise quarterback? That's not going to be the case in Madden. He literally won MVP the first year for me, and the Ravens drafted QB at 28. The Bills went QB in the second round. The Steelers went quarterback at 30. Just doesn't make any sense that these teams would be going quarterback, obviously. So that glitch still seems to be the factor. Trade value seems to be the exact same. The tight ends kind of went for the same kind of business. One of the easy trades that you can almost always pull off, and if you're doing a speed rebuild, is you can get Tremaine Edmonds and Ed Oliver for next to nothing. I think I offered 2 like 25, 26-year-old normal development trait, 74 overall wide receivers, and I could have gotten them both with a 4th round added. So that was really stupid. Quarterbacks in general, though, could be valued higher. I don't know about trades, but I did a fantasy draft, and in the fantasy draft, Stafford, I think, went either late first or early second, and so did Brady. Brady, not as crazy, even though he would go in like the 5th or later in last Madden. Actually, I don't know if he would because I didn't update it, but I'm pretty sure he went like multiple rounds after the first round. But Stafford would why would Stafford go that high? Like, he's not that crazy good. I don't actually know what his dev was. Maybe it was Superstar, but you know, they went pretty damn high. As far as the fantasy draft goes, once again, the exact same screen. Everything's the exact same. They don't have it like they used to where you could scroll up and see who was taken before you. If you want to see who was taken, you pretty much have to go back to the transaction list and then scroll. Really, really annoying. But once again, those are pretty much the big things I picked up on. As far as like the scenarios go, those aren't really huge things. They already mentioned a couple of new scenarios in general. But, you know, it didn't seem anything new to what I could see. The camp stand out. It was the exact same thing. Even the words, it was like, when you fail, it's like, I thought I was poised for a big, you know, week or whatever, a big breakout, and I wasn't. Same exact thing there. The wide receiver breakout or whatever it was called, mentorship, that one, exact same thing. You can choose between, you know, catching traffic, juke move, route running, all that. Pretty much the same thing. You know, if you're really looking for some crazy, big, game-changing you know, franchise changes, I don't really think that I've seen enough. Once again, relocation teams alone might have been enough for some people to hop onto the new game. Like I said, not everyone plays Modern Madden. I mean, barely anyone does, actually, to be fair, because I don't even know if Madden's going to be next-gen again for PC. I don't know how that works, but yeah, those are pretty much the things I gathered. If there's anything I forgot, I can always go back in, let you know, and like I could respond to your comment, or I can do a pinned comment and just add things as I go if I find something new or you guys bring me you know, questions that I just didn't think about. So let me know in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think of these things. Some are disappointing. Some are cool, I guess. Nothing really getting me going, I'll tell you what. My britches are not in a bundle. I don't even know what that means, to be honest. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, maybe leave a like, subscribe if you're new. We'll try to do as much Madden 23 content as possible. And yeah, speaking of Madden, have a Nighthawks Relocation Fantasy Draft franchise episode for you sometime a little later today. Maybe 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, maybe a little later. Depends on when this comes up. But that's about it. Hopefully if I use a thumbnail that's a little risky for getting banned from EA. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you guys come back for next video. But until next video, see ya!